Two different traffic.
Okay, so you have two different charges. If you enter a no-low plea, you will not have a trial and the court will impose a fine. And once that fine is paid, that will be the end of the case. Or would you prefer to have a trial?
Well, on the yeah, I'd rather have trial with the traffic with the accident ticket. Now,
okay, let me let you sit down then, and we will call you back up here when I get when the prosecutor's ready to try your case. Okay. Just have a seat.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to call the next person?
Yes, Your Honor. What's your name again?
Jackson.
Jackson. Last name is Jackson. Mark Anthony Jackson on page 3.
All right. Mr. Jackson.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. It is my understanding you're changing your plea from not guilty to what are you changing it to, sir?
See, I'm really confused on this situation because.
Well, let me just say this to you. Today is your trial date. So when you came on your arraignment date, you entered a not guilty plea.
Yeah.
If you want to change it to guilty and no-low, you do have the right to do that, but you also have the right to stick by your not guilty plea and let the city prove the charges against you, which they're prepared to go forward with right now. So are you ready to go forward with the trial, or do you want to change your plea?
We can go forward.
Okay, then let me let you have a seat and they'll call you back up here for the trial momentarily, and I'll put you down for not guilty. Do you understand that?
All right, thank you.
All right, so have a seat.
The last one, Your Honor, is Mr. Atkins.
And do we know what Mr. Atkins' plea is?
No.
And I don't have Atkins on my calendar.
Your Honor, he actually is on the docket for 1, but he walked up here and I wanted to see if we can squeeze him in. He wants to just make his plea.
Do you have his paperwork with you?
Mrs. Payton does. I can get that, but
I have his paperwork.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Atkins, you're on the 1 o'clock calendar, and they are, which is an arraignment calendar, okay? Which is your initial time to enter a plea. If you enter a not guilty plea, you'll be placed down on a trial calendar. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And you have the choice of having a trial here in Forest Park, or you can request that your case be bound over to Clayton County. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you understand that, sir?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. So, sir, what is your plea to the charge? Is it guilty, not guilty, or no-low contendere?
No low contend.
All right. What is he charged with, Ms. Yates, and is he eligible for a no-low?
Driving with suspended tag and no insurance, and he is not eligible.
All right. Sir, you are not eligible for a no-low, so you'd have to enter a guilty or a not guilty plea. And understand this is a suspendable offense. So if you need some time to think about this, you can certainly take it. What do you want your plea to be, guilty or not guilty?
It'll be guilty.
All right. Can we verify, did this vehicle belong to you at the time?
No, I was paid a car note on it.
So the car did not belong to you? Ms. Yates, can we verify who this car belonged to at the time?
One moment.
And sir, you did not have insurance on the car?
Not yet, but I have it now, but not when I got pulled over last month.
All right. Let me just ask you to have a seat and let Ms. Yates investigate this. And once she's told me she's looked at it, I'll call you back up here.
I have it, Judge Freeman.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Keep saying, Ms. Yates.
It's showing that it's registered to him.
It's showing that the car is registered to him?
Yes.
All right. Sir, so it's my understanding that you're entering a guilty plea to both charges. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that by entering the guilty plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
And do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you entering into this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And sir, you do understand that entering a guilty plea will result in the suspension of your license. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. And do you think it is in your best interest to enter into the guilty plea?
Yes.
All right. Sir, the court will accept your guilty plea to the 2 charges. Ms. Yates, is this his first time with a no insurance and a suspended registration charge? within the last 5 years?
Yes.
All right. Sir, on the no insurance charge, that fine is $695. And on the suspended registration, that fine is $795. Do you understand that?
Yes,
The total fine is $1,480. Do you understand that?
yes,
Sir, you will be placed on probation for 24 months. Do you understand that?
yes,
While you are on probation, 3 months of your probation is mandatory. Do you understand that?
yes,
After 3 months, if you have paid the fine, you can get off of probation as long as your probation fees are current. Do you understand that?
yes,
And do you understand that if you violate the terms of your probation, you can be brought back in front of the court on a probation revocation calendar? Do you understand that?
yes, yes, sir.
All right. Can I please have this gentleman's full name?
It's Tramarius, Tramarius Atkins, Adkins.
Okay.
No, not the N, it's SON.
I'm sorry. Adikson. My apologies.
Okay, say that again. It's the last name is A.
Dkison.
Okay. All right. Mr. Atkinson, the court is sentencing you to 24 months probation, 3 months mandatory. You will be responsible to pay monthly probation fees until the probation is ended, and you must pay a fine of $1,480, and you will be served with a notice of suspension today. Do you understand that?
Yes,
All right. Sir, if you will have a seat, Ms. Green will give you some documentation and she'll make sure that she gets your plea form, your guilty plea form to the charge.
all right.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Green, does that take care of everyone in the courtroom?
Yes.
All right, let's let the people in the queue then.
Put your initials there so they know you did that, not me, okay? All right, and then put your email address down here.
Young lady, let me have you to mute your device. Thank you. Please mute your devices. And while you're doing that, please type your full name and your email address in the chat and send it to FPMC.
Buenos días, por favor, asegúrese de poner su micrófono en silencio y ponga su nombre completo y su correo electrónico en el chat y se lo va a mandar a donde dice FPMC.
Everyone that is on the calendar for today that's been charged with an offense, please type your full name and your email address in the chat and send it to FPMC.
De nuevo, asegúrese de, por favor, si usted tiene un caso hoy aquí, de que coloque su correo electrónico y su nombre completo en el chat y lo va a mandar a FPMC.
I want to welcome you all to the Forest Park Court Virtual Division, and let me outline to you the policies and practices of the court. First,
Buenos días.
go ahead, Ms. Ida.
Buenos días, quiero darles la bienvenida al Tribunal Municipal de Forest Park, que les voy a indicar cuáles son las reglas que tienen que seguir para esta sesión virtual.
Do you want to sound and see if anyone needs interpreting services, Ms. Ida?
Yes, Your Honor. Buenos días. ¿Hay alguna persona que necesita intérprete? Por favor, déjenos saber ahora. Abra su micrófono y diga que necesita intérprete para ver si necesita o no. I guess nobody, I'll just hang out here and I'll just don't interpret then, you know.
Right, if you'll hold on a minute, I'm gonna probably keep you around until 8:30, okay?
That's fine, Your Honor, I'll be here.
Okay, thank you. These are the rules of virtual court. First and foremost, keep your device on mute until your name is called. Secondly, make sure that there are no distractions in your background. Please understand that you are in a court setting and all of the formalities of a court setting apply, although you may be in your private residence or at work. Please ensure that your video stays on at all times. Also, please ensure that you have proper internet connectivity. Understand that virtual court is provided as a courtesy to you, and if the terms and conditions are violated, your session will be terminated and you will be asked to come down to the courtroom. I'm going to call the calendar, and when you hear your name called, if you will unmute your device and announce your plea. Be mindful on your arraignment date, you entered a not guilty plea and requested that your case be tried here in Forest Park. If you change your plea to guilty or nolo, please let me know that immediately so that we can go ahead and adjudicate your case. If not, the prosecutor will be preparing your case for a trial today. So when you hear your name called, unmute your device and announce your plea. Make sure that your video stays on at all times. Gaynell Allen. Gaynell Allen. And Solomon Jane.
Miss Allen is on the line. I spoke with her earlier.
Gaynell Allen. Solomon Jane. Right now it'll be FTA until I hear from her. And the witness did not appear. I've already called Antonio Brown. Next is Shay Quandria Burgess. Shay Quandria Burgess.
I'm here.
What is your plea, Miss Burgess? You're Miss Allen.
No, I'm Miss Allen. I'm here.
Okay, Miss Allen, please stop yelling. Do you
Oh, I
understand
got excited because you said you weren't gonna call me, but I was trying.
Well, you weren't showing up. What is your plea to the charge, young lady?
Not guilty.
All right, thank you. And now you can mute your device and make sure that you type your name and your email address in the chat, okay?
Where's the chat? Is it on the right side or the left
You
side?
will see a little item, or you will see a little icon that looks like
A person?
a chat. It'll say chat, click on chat and type it in. Type your
Okay.
name and email address, but right now, let me get you to mute your device.
Okay, let me mute my device.
Okay, understand that we are live in court, Miss Allen, and everyone can hear you and see you. So if you'll please keep your voice down. Thank you. All right. Shay Quandria Burgess. That is FTA. Akria Cooper. Akria Cooper. That is FTA. Nia Daniel. Nia Daniel, FTA. Artist Denard. Artist Denard, FTA. Edwin Hardy.
Not guilty.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. We'll put you down for not guilty, sir. Anaya Harris. Anaya Harris, FTA.
She was on earlier. I think she's trying to connect.
Okay, we will hold for her report. Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson.
He's here, Your Honor. What was your plea? Not guilty.
That is correct. Thank you, Ms. Green. I do have him down as not guilty. Marshana Kennedy.
Not guilty.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Danielle Kirkland. Danielle Kirkland. If you'll unmute Ms. Kirkland and tell me your plea.
I'll change your mind to guilty.
All right, Ms. Kirkland, is my understanding you're changing your plea from not guilty to guilty. Is that correct?
Yes.
Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Yates, do we have her information?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Kirkland, do you understand about entering into the guilty plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes.
Do you also understand about entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes.
Are you entering this plea, Ms. Kirkland, freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And do you believe it is in your best interest to enter into the guilty plea?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Kirkland, the court will accept your guilty plea. The fine amount is $175. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Are you able to satisfy that in a 2-week time period, or do you need a longer period of time?
I know I can pay that.
All right. Ms. Kirkland, they will send to you by close of business tomorrow your plea form, to which you will enter a guilty plea, I'm sorry. And then after you've entered the guilty plea, they will send to you a 2-week agreement which outlines how you are to make payments within the 2 weeks. Do you understand that?
They'll send it to me by like.
They're going to send it to you via email through DocuSign.
Okay.
So please check your email today and tomorrow. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any questions?
No.
All right. You can disengage from the call, and thank you. We're holding for Attorney Kessler's matter. Next is Adam Neal.
Guilty.
Mr. Neal, you're changing your plea from not guilty to guilty. I need for you to show your face in the
Oh,
video.
yeah, sorry.
You're changing your plea from not guilty to guilty. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You have 3 different charges. Do you understand that?
No, I did not know that. It should be.
So let me take you through the charges. You have a failure to yield that happened on September the 27th of 2021.
Mhm.
And then you have a charge of failure to have license on person and another failure to yield that happened on October 24 of 2022.
I can provide both of those receipts that the tickets, the failure to yield was paid.
Okay.
Not the
Ms.
most
Ga-
recent one, but you know.
Well, they can check on that, but the mere fact that you're on the calendar leads me to believe that there is something going on with this. Ms. Yates, do you show that these tickets have been satisfied?
No, I do not, sir. How did you pay it?
Online. I mean, I just went and checked it yesterday to see if I could to see what was going on with this ticket, and it showed the 2 incidences in 2021 had been paid for. I mean, wouldn't they strip my license if I just didn't pay it for 3 years?
No, they would not be stripped because this was during COVID and we were not suspending license during that time. So let me just say that there's only 1 ticket in 2021, and then there are 2 tickets in 2022. And they're not showing that they've been paid. So do you want to change? Go ahead, Michelle.
Judge Freeman, we're gonna check the in-court system
Okay.
to check online.
Are you able to do that today?
Yes.
Okay, well, why don't we hold, Mr. Neal, and we'll get back to you, okay?
So, well, I mean.
Let me get you to do this, Mr. Neal. Let me just ask you to hold on and let them check another system to see if there's any posted payments in there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. The other case for Kessler, I will hold for Robin Pearsall.
Not guilty, sir.
Thank you. Next is Shanara Scherer. Shanara Scherer. That is FTA. Liquidano Valente. Well, no Valente Liquidano. No Valente Liquidano. That is FTA. All right. That takes care of the cases, Mr. Prosecutor. It looks like you have a few trials, and the first one is Gaynell Holmes, if you're ready to call that case with Officer Holmes. Gaynell Allen with Officer Holmes.
Good morning, Judge. I don't mean to interrupt. This is Officer Johnson. Am I free to go since my person pled guilty? Kirkland, Danielle.
Let me just. All right. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any reasons that you need to hold Officer Johnson?
I do not, Judge.
All right, then Officer Johnson, yes, you are released, and good morning to you.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right.
Morning, Judge. This is Officer Mays. My person was a FTA. Am I free to go?
Yeah, you only had one person, which is Artist Denard.
Correct.
You are excused. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, take care of yourself and good morning to you.
Good morning.
All right. Mr. Prosecutor, yeah, go ahead.
So on Miss Allen, this was the one that we announced for, and she had some problems responding, but we did announce for the witness on this case. The witness has not appeared, so the city would be moving to dismiss for want of prosecution.
All right, do we have her information so we can send her plea form for her to enter a not guilty and for us to send her a copy of the dismissal? Miss Allen, have you been able to provide your email address? Let me have you to unmute, Miss Allen. The little device that looks like a mic, if you will click on that. It looks like a mic. It looks like a sound mic, Miss Allen, if you will please click on that. She is talking, and of course, we cannot hear her because she is on mute. So we will just come back to you, Miss Allen, okay? Next, let's go to Antonio Brown. This is Officer Richard and Officer Moriarty. All right. Now, Mr. Brown, you have two different tickets. You have one that's dated October 20th of 2022, which is a failure to yield. What is your plea to that, sir? Not guilty, guilty, or nolo contendere?
Not guilty.
Okay. And then you have another ticket that's dated December 17th of 2022. It's a traffic control device. What is your plea to that? Guilty, not guilty, or nolo contendere?
Nolo.
All right. On the nolo charge for the incident dated 12/17/2022, do you understand that by entering into the nolo plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you're waiving your right to a trial?
Sir.
Are you entering the plea, young man, freely and voluntarily? This is the December 17th, 2022 traffic control device charge. Are you entering this plea freely and voluntarily, Mr. Brown?
Well, I think I would like to speak to a lawyer about it.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. Why don't I do this? On both of these, today is your trial date, and if you had wanted us to appoint you an attorney, we would have done that on your arraignment date if you had asked for one, okay? Do you want me to just bind both of your cases over to Clayton County, which will give you time to hire yourself a lawyer and to deal with both of these?
Nah,
Because
really.
the city is ready to go forward with the trial today. Do you understand that? And you have waived your right to appointment of counsel and you've not hired yourself a lawyer. Do you understand that?
So, okay, I go
So
not
if
guilty for the. Yeah, I go not guilty for the first one, and then I guess I was trying to go nolo for the second one, but I don't know.
Well, you're eligible for a nolo, but you said you wanted to speak with an attorney, so I was
We
going
just go ahead with a nolo.
Okay, just listen to me, young man. I want to be sure you understand what's going on. Are you sure you understand what's going on?
Yeah, I had think about it. I was confused about it, something. I think I'm good with that.
Okay, so you have two charges. One is in October, the other one is in December. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, now the one in December, is that the one you want to enter a nolo plea to?
Yeah.
All right. Don't say aha, just say yes or no, because I'm trying to keep the record clean because you're being recorded and videoed. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so young man, do you understand that by entering into the nolo plea for the December 17th event, that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you entering the plea freely and voluntarily? In other words, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay. The court will accept your NOLO plea to the traffic control device dated December 17th, 2022. Young man, that fine is $175. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you able to pay that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
I say like a month, like 3 weeks.
All right, then you need a longer period of time. Young man, you will be placed on probation for 12 months. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your probation will end the moment this fine is paid, so it will be pay-only probation. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, understand that if you violate the terms of your probation, you can be brought before the court on a probation revocation calendar. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So we have adjudicated your case dated December 17th, 2022, and we will go forward with your failure to yield case, which happened on October 20th of 2022. And that is Officer Richard. Mr. Prosecutor, is there an announcement on the Antonio Brown matter with Officer Richard dated October the 20th, 2022?
No, Judge, we are ready to proceed on Officer Richard. Let me verify something because I don't have a report. Officer Richard, was this? Oh. Let me just be sure. It was an accident, Judge. Let me verify that the name does anybody have the name of the witness on that case so we can announce for him? Because I'm not showing a report.
It was Maria Rhea Areola.
Is there a Maria Rhea Areola on the Zoom?
María Reyes Arriola se encuentra presente. Por favor, abre su micrófono.
Judge, hearing no announcement, we're going to dismiss for warrant of prosecution.
All right, Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm here.
All right, the incident dated October the 20th, 2022, the witness is not here, so the prosecution has dismissed this case for warrant of prosecution. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so you will go on probation. You will be given that information for the December 17th matter. The October matter has been dismissed. Do you understand that, young man?
Yes, Your Honor. I understand that.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. I wonder, how okay, so I had my car total loss and all that, and I'm trying to see how I'm gonna, get the refund back all the money I spent, because like on the accident, she really did hit me, and then officer gave me a ticket without even knowing what was going on. And
let me just say this to you, young man.
My car was total loss.
You have the right, if you feel like that she was at fault, to bring an action against her in civil court to recover either any bodily injury or damages to your car. This court only handles the traffic control charge.
Oh, okay. So that's the next step. I really never been in an accident like that.
Okay, well, you can. I would suggest that you do speak with an attorney regarding assisting you with getting recoupment for the property damage to your car.
Okay.
But it would not come back to this court. That attorney would show you what court it needed to go to, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. If you'll go have a seat.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Next, I'm gonna call Edwin Hardy and Officer Rosario.
Officer Rosario's in here with me, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Prosecutor, you ready for that matter, sir? All right. Mr. Hardy?
Yes, sir.
All right, everyone that is going to testify, Officer Rosario, if everyone will raise their right hand.
This is for probation.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say, I do.
I do.
I do.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go ahead and present this case?
Yes, Your Honor. On October 6th of 2022, Mr. Hardy was issued a citation for disorderly conduct by Officer Rosario. Officer Rosario, on the date in
And let me
question,
just, don't mean to stop you. I have 2 citations, disorderly conduct and discharging a firearm in the city.
that's correct, Judge.
Okay, all right.
Well, let me just make sure. Yeah, so I only have one on. It's doubled up. I got you, Judge.
Okay,
It was actually disorderly conduct, discharging a firearm. That was within the city limits of Forest Park. Officer Rosario, are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes, I am.
And could you briefly state the nature of the contact that you made with Mr. Hardy on October 6th?
So on that day, I was answering a call to the apartments right next door to his house. We while finishing that call, we heard gunshots. We canvassed the area, and while canvassing the area, we saw Mr. Harden behind a garbage can. When we told him to come out, he was unclothed, didn't have no clothes on, and had a gun waving in the air.
And so in your investigation, you determined that he was the one that fired the shots that you guys heard when you, I guess, made way to that particular location where you discovered Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
All right. And did he make any statements to you that you can recall?
No, I unholstered my weapon, told him to come forward, come from behind the garbage can, where he was behind. We had him laid down, gave him verbal commands, and at that time, we was able to take the gun off of him, later finding 2 other guns by the garbage can.
Okay. And had you determined if the other 2 guns had been fired also?
No.
I object. I object.
Mr.
Only had-
Hardy, the prosecution, I'm gonna overrule the objection. That is an
Okay.
admissible question. All right, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor.
No further questions for this witness, Judge.
All right, Mr. Hardy, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Officer Rosario?
No, I know what happened. I only had 2 firearms with me.
Okay,
And
let
I
me
was-
just say, this is the phase where you ask questions. You'll get a chance to tell me what happened. But right now, do you have any questions
No,
you'd like
sir.
to ask the officer?
No, sir.
All right, does the city rest its case?
City rest, Judge.
All right, the city has rested its case, Mr. Hardy. Now you can tell me what happened, sir.
On the day, on October 6th, I have a skin condition. The doctor had prescribed me 3 doses of medicine to mix in my bath. I was attempting to use those, but I had peepers, 2 males and a female. They run the first batch. That was that morning. And I tried to get the later on this afternoon, and they came back. Unbelievable. Great timing, I guess, on their part. So I stopped that bath. And the third and final time was late at night, hoping I could get this taken care of because I itch. Well, lo and behold, they were back. And the gentleman he was aggressively masturbating, Your Honor. It was kind of disturbing to me. You could only see me when I stand up from the waist up. There was nothing below the waist was seen. I was sitting in the tub and I could still see them. I got out of the tub, went into the room, closed the doors, secluded myself. And that's when I heard them come in the back door. And they just turned into a waiting game, essentially. I grabbed 2 of my pistols. I have a Smith & Wesson 9mm that was issued to me from the Sheriff's Department in Henry County, and I had a PZ 900. That's also a military firearm. The third firearm was still in my room. I came through the house to see where they were. They were in the living room because the talking was low and murmur. And I stepped into my food cupboard, and I stood there for approximately 45 minutes with my firearms across my chest, backed up against the wall. Still, I had no clothes on. Still wet from the bath. I didn't expect them to be in my house. I'll be honest with you. I stood there because I could see the clock or the microwave that was right across from me. For 45 minutes, I stood in that cupboard. I was honestly scared to death. I've been in law enforcement. I've been in corrections. I've been in the military, but I've never had to raise my firearm at another human being to this degree, especially when there was 3 people in my house, 2 males and a female. Well, they made it through the house, and they were just talking. They were just egging me on, saying, well, I always like to see my rabbits. If my rabbit's going to run or not, I like to make the time go by so slow to see if they break and run. That way I can get me target practice. And I held my breath. I controlled my breathing. Well, when they were talking about killing a kid, and then because sometimes you have to make the deal. I have no idea what's going on here. And the guy that was obviously in charge, the guy that likes me, apparently, he was the one that's talking, doing all the talking. So maybe we'll get Hardy to do the next one. And well, that's about all I can say.
Okay.
Took both my pistols and I could reach both walls, and I started stabbing both the walls with my pistols. And I told the woman, I said, if we're going to start killing kids, I need to get my cereal. I need to get me some strength up. And they didn't know I was in the closet of the cupboard. It shocked them. It startled her. She came back this way in the kitchen. I went through the other door into the middle bedroom. Single light was on. I knocked it over. Came back around. My house is a large circle. I came down and I knelt down in front of the washer and dryer, and I had one weapon pointed this way in this direction, and one pointed at the middle bedroom window there. The taller gentleman looked in, and when he looked in, I fired because they all had weapons. I seen them all. The lady had a weapon, and I could see the gentleman right there because they couldn't see me in the closet because it was pitch black. All the lights were off in the house except for that middle bedroom. So when I fired, he ducked back. He missed. I missed, and I came running this way, and I exited through this door. I went out the back porch, and I was at the position where the officer said I was. There was a garbage can there, and I had yet again raised one firearm up towards the windows on the back porch, and then one at the steps. And if he came out or whoever came out, the same guy stuck his face in the window. I fired again. He again, the lucky devil. He leaned back. I missed. Bullet went through my window and then up through the roof. And they all went back through the house and through the same door, locked it behind them. No, I thought it was very nice of them, and scattered to the backyard, to the fence, and across the creek into the apartments. When the officers arrived, I was very grateful. I was very shaken. I was on a full adrenaline dump. I knew I was naked. I knew it looked bizarre. But they just didn't seem to see me where I was. So there was an 8-foot fluorescent lamp, which I thought was dead. So it was going to be thrown away. Well, this one wasn't dead. It was a very resounding pop when it hit the ground, and it startled all of the officers. I am an ex-officer, and I understand when you have that many firearms, it's not good to startle all of them at the same time. I held my pistols up and I set them down on the porch and put my hands back up in the air. And I was given 20 different commands. I did my best to obey most of them. Well, they took me to jail. They questioned my sanity. I was coerced. I was cognitive, and the paramedics were satisfied with my answers.
All right.
They broke into my house, and I was not going to become a victim. I'm glad nobody was hurt, especially myself, but I was not going to just lay down and roll over.
All right.
When you enter my house with a firearm, I expect trouble from you, especially when I don't know you.
Mr. Neal, thank you for your testimony. I will see if the prosecutor has any questions. Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any questions, sir?
I do, Your Honor. Mr. Neal, I'm sorry.
I hope they are very short.
Mr. Hardy.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me just make sure that I understand. At the beginning of your testimony, you stated that you caught somebody looking at you attempting to take the bath on more than one occasion, correct?
At the same day, yes, sir. 3 times.
And I'm assuming they were looking through a window?
Yes.
All right. And you don't have curtains on the window?
Well, I have a it's a plastic adhesive. it's blurred. So you can only see me when I stand up. I was sitting down in the bathtub, so I was just getting the fresh air coming in. I just got new windows installed in the house, and I wanted to enjoy it.
Okay, so you have some sort of film that distorts the
Yes, yes, sir.
side of the house.
Yes. But when you stand on the back porch, you can see it through the top window.
All right, and so then you said that you attempted again, and this is closer to when this altercation occurred, correct?
3 times that day, sir. In the morning, and then the afternoon, and then that evening, late. Hoping, I don't know why they keep coming back. That's the problem.
Now, you also said that on the 3rd occasion, they entered your home. Was your home not locked?
No, my home was locked. My home stays locked.
How did they get in?
Someone has a key to that back door. It started out as someone used the bathroom and then did not flush. I'm a very tidy person. I only have 2 people that use that bathroom. I have 2 bathrooms in my home. One of them has cancer, and well, that's not him. And the other one's my cousin. So that was not either of them. It was not me. And my back door was open.
All right.
And
So
then
maybe one of the people that you said stay with you or live with you were present.
No one lives with me. I live alone.
Well, I'm sorry. You just said that you had 2 people that.
When I have visitors, those are the only 2 that really come by and use that bathroom.
Okay. All right. Did you ever file a police report in reference to, or call the police in reference to these people looking through your window?
I didn't have a chance because
well, you said that you attempted to take a bath 3 times that day.
Well, yeah. They left no evidence, no clue that they were ever there, and it would just make me look like an old crazy man.
Right,
So,
but Mr. Hardy, you being former law enforcement, and I believe that you said that you work for Henry County.
Yes, sir.
You having a bit more experience and knowledge in these type of situations, if you were an officer, you wouldn't think that you would want to call and at least make a report?
I have been making reports, sir. This has been going on now for 7 months. I've been harassed on a nightly and a daily basis. When the sun goes down, they come out, and I don't know. I am the only white man on this street left. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but they terrorize me all night, every night. And I've called the police on several occasions, and they come out, and I get patronized because I look like a old crazy man, hearing noises again, because they leave absolutely nothing to gather, no evidence, no nothing. So I have nothing to give them. So,
Mr. Hardy, let me just ask one final question. I just want to make sure that we're clear, because again, I'm going to expect that you have, since you're former law enforcement, you have a higher standard. Have you ever thought about installing cameras?
I have 13 of them, sir.
And none of your cameras captured any of these incidences, especially on this date?
When all this started, they were tripping them with dirt, grass, and leaves. They were throwing them up. They found the cameras at night, I'm assuming. They found the locations of them, and they would trip them around and around. They would run. I actually had a path around my house to all my cameras where they would toss them, and they would run the batteries down. And they take lithium batteries. So I've added to the collection, and now they actually control them. I've called the internet. I've called Xfinity. I've called Blink. I've had my service changed. I've had my network changed. I've had passwords changed. They still are in it.
No further questions, Judge.
All right. Mr. Hardy, is there anything else you'd like to say, sir? I can't imagine there is, but is there?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right. All right. Do you rest your case, Mr. Hardy?
I do.
All right. Mr. Hardy, I have heard your testimony. I've also heard the testimony of Officer Rosario, as well as the questions that were being posed to you by the prosecutor. Based on the evidence that the court has heard, the court does find you guilty of both violations. The fine for each violation is $375, making the total fine $750. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time to pay it?
2 weeks will be fine, Your Honor.
All right, sir, let me just say this to you. If there are any other incidents, I am going to probably order. Let me finish, Mr. Hardy.
Yes,
If there are
yes.
any other incidents, I hope you will bring this to the attention of law enforcement personnel immediately. Now, let me ask you, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
I have, sir.
All right, do we have Mr. Hardy's email information, Ms. Yates?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Hardy, you will receive by close of business tomorrow through your email your plea form to which you would have entered a not guilty plea, but you were found guilty by the court. The total fine is $750, and you've agreed to pay that within 2 weeks. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, you can disengage from the call. Thank you.
Your Honor, yeah, they confiscated my firearms. I would like my firearms back.
They're going to keep your firearms in light of this situation, but you can certainly petition the police department for that because
Well,
court services has nothing to do with that.
I do, Your Honor, I do have a paper trail. I do have several calls in about these same people. I've seen this same girl and the other guy come back onto my property. The other guy I haven't seen.
Okay. So, Mr. Hardy, let me just say, if you want your firearms back, you do have the right to make that request to the police department. But understand that's separate from court services, and I'm not going to enter an order for them to give you your guns back, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. You can disengage from the call. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Your Honor, is there
Yes.
any update on Mr. Kessler?
All right, have we heard from Mr. Attorney Kessler yet?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, then Miss Ida, you are released, and I'm sure we will hear from Mr. Kessler.
Okay, thank you, and I'll see you this afternoon.
All right, thank you. Next is Anaya Harris.
I'm here,
Yes.
sir.
Ms. Harris, you were charged with failure to have license on person and erratic lane change. What is your plea to the charges? Is it not guilty, guilty, or nolo contendere?
Guilty, sir.
Are you entering a guilty plea to both charges?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
all right, Ms. Harris, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes.
All right, do we have Ms. Harris's information, Ms. Yates?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Harris, do you understand that by entering into the guilty plea that you're doing this without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yes.
Do you also understand that by entering into the plea that you are waiving your right to a trial?
Yes.
Are you entering into the plea, young lady, freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Ms. Yates, can we confirm that Ms. Harris does in fact have a valid driver's license?
It's showing suspended.
Her license is suspended?
I never had license.
Excuse me, Ms. Harris?
I never had license.
You've never had a license?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. All right. Ms. Harris, your court will enter the guilty plea on the two charges. On the license charge, that fine is $795. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
On the lane change charge, that fine is $175.
Okay.
The total fine is $970. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You will be placed on probation for 12 months. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
2 months of your probation is mandatory. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
After 2 months, if the sum of $970 is paid, your probation can end. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You will receive your plea form through your email by close of business tomorrow. Enter a guilty plea and send it back, and then you will receive information regarding probation. Do you understand that, Ms. Harris?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, you can disengage from the call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and all right, thank you. Next is Mark Jackson. I believe Mr. Jackson is in the courtroom.
Yes, Your Honor, he's walking up.
All right. Mr.
Officer,
Prosecutor, Mr. Jackson has entered a not guilty plea to the charge. Is the city ready to go forward with this?
Ms. Green, we have Officer Alexander on that case. What's the announcement on Alexander?
No longer here.
All right, the city's going to move to dismiss for want of prosecution, Judge.
All right, Mr. Jackson, your charge is being dismissed for want of prosecution. You will be given a plea form, enter a not guilty plea, and then you're free to go, sir. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Next is Shwana Kennedy. Ms. Kennedy? I need for you to unmute, young lady. There's a little, it looks like a mic. If you will click on that, young lady, to unmute your device.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Mr. Prosecutor, are you ready to proceed with the matter regarding Ms. Kennedy?
I am, Your Honor. Officer Jackson, present in
All right.
court.
Ms. Kennedy, you've entered a not guilty plea. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Everyone that's going to testify, if you'll please raise your right hand. Ms. Kennedy, are you going to testify? Thank you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor, you want to go ahead and present the case?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Kennedy is before the court because on July 15th of 2022, she received a citation for a stop sign violation. Officer Jackson issued that citation. Officer Jackson, on the date in question, did you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Kennedy?
Yes, sir.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
Are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes, sir.
Could you briefly state the nature of that contact?
On that day, I was sitting at the daycare, and I was facing towards the parking lot of the football field. I noticed a vehicle that didn't stop at the stop sign. It did a roll through the stop sign and continued on down on West Street. I activated my emergency equipment and made a pullover.
Mr. Prosecutor, you're muted.
I'm sorry, Judge.
Okay.
On that button. So when you stopped Mrs. Kennedy, you informed her why you were stopping her. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
And the location, you said you were stationary at the location where you observed her rolling through the stop sign. At any point, was your vision blocked of the vehicle she was driving and or the stop sign you were observing?
No, sir.
All right. So when you stopped her, you explained to her why you were stopping her. Did she make any statements that you can recall?
She stated that she did not see the stop sign. She said there was no stop sign.
All right. Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right. Ms. Kennedy, if you will hold 1 second, I'm going to take a 1-minute break and then I will come back and you can ask the officer questions. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
A la videollamada, videochat. Aquí y ya si está el abogado que están esperando a pues pueden arreglar el caso ahí. Y si no está, pues cambian el outreach. Pero a la una de la tarde para que funcione de las. If he doesn't show up at 1 o'clock, reset you might know. But at least you won't have to come and sit. Si no llega a la 1 de la tarde, puedes estar el día de corto, pero ya no te claro. Pues ahora puede hablar con el peso cuando esté diciendo eso.
Okay, I am back. Ms. Kennedy, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Officer Jackson?
Questions?
You will have a chance to make a statement, but do you have
Okay.
any questions you'd like to ask him?
No questions at this time, Your Honor.
All right, does the city rest?
City arrest, Judge.
All right, Ms. Kennedy, you can now tell me what happened.
Yes, so I'm familiar with that area. I dropped my son off at that park. I'm not too sure what it's called, but it's the next block up from the daycare that he's referring to. So I go that route frequently to take my son to the park to play basketball. And so he didn't actually stop me until he pulled his equipment, his bleacher, his lights off, he didn't pull his sirens off until me until I actually pulled into the park to drop my son off. Son even got out the car. I didn't even know I was being pulled over. So my son actually got out the car, and then I asked him. He told me why I was being pulled over. He said I didn't make a complete stop at the stop sign, and I didn't say that. I don't recall saying that I didn't see the stop sign. I just recall saying that I know that I did make a stop at that complete sign. I didn't even see his vehicle. Like I said, I didn't even know I was being pulled over till I actually drove inside the park area to drop my son off at the basketball courts. So I kind of was like, not argumentative, but I'm just wondering why I was even being pulled over. And he said I didn't make a stop 2 blocks down from where the park is. And I don't know. Like I said, I just went about, I didn't agree to it, but like I said, I was questioning him, like, well, where I was like, I take this route all the time. Like, I know I made a complete stop. So, yeah, like I said, I was confused on even why I didn't even know I was being pulled over or being stopped, because I actually pulled all the way into the park and he didn't put his sirens on until I was actually already inside, pulled into the where the parking area is, where the park is, and I was dropping my son off. So I don't know if I explained my side of the story, but yeah. I know I made a stop. Like I said, I make that route frequently, at least a few times a week during that time, July, during the summer. So when he said I didn't make a stop, I was, like I said, I was confused, because I know that there's a stop sign at that daycare that he was referring to that I didn't see his car sitting there at. So.
Ms. Kennedy, the prosecution may have some questions to ask you.
Okay.
Ms. Kennedy, I heard that in your your statement rather, your statement was in reference to the officer saying that you did not stop, but did you actually hear what he said, the actual maneuver that you made? I believe he described it as a rolling stop. Do you know what a rolling stop is?
I guess where you kind of stop but still roll through.
Yes. So officer's testimony was that you did not come to a complete stop, that you slowed down when you came up to that particular traffic control device, that being a stop sign, and you slowed down enough to pause before you went through the intersection or made your maneuver, whether that was a turn or not. But all 4 wheels did not stop moving when you came to that rolling stop. And so normally the requirement is that all 4 wheels stop moving for at least 3 seconds or more in order for it to be identified as a stop. Now, were you able to see the officer from your location?
I was not. Like I said, I didn't know that I was being pulled over because he didn't turn his lights on until I was actually already all the way inside the park. Like, I didn't even see him behind me. So.
And the distance, your belief of the distance between the stop sign and the park is how far?
So it was literally the next street up, the next block up, I would say, like a block.
Okay. All right. No further questions, Judge.
All right. Ms. Kennedy, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Like I said, I didn't see, he said his car was, in his statement, he said that his car was parked across the street from the daycare, I guess at the football field. And that's why I was confused, because like I said, I didn't even see his vehicle, not to say that it wasn't there, but I didn't see his vehicle until I actually pulled inside the park, which was so it's a block up and then you make that left. So I literally drove a whole block up, made that left, and then the park is right on the right-hand side. And like I said, I didn't see his vehicle until I made that right into the inside the park, and that's when the lights went off. So
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Kennedy, for your statement. Do you rest your case?
yes.
All right. Ms. Kennedy, you entered a not guilty plea to the stop sign violation. The court does find you guilty of the violation. And I note in my notes that she has a late fee of $50 that was assessed. Is that correct, Ms. Yates?
Yes.
Has that already been paid?
No, it has not.
Okay. All right, Ms. Kennedy, you've entered a not guilty plea to the stop sign violation. The court does find you guilty of the violation. The total fine, including the late fee, is $250. Are you able to satisfy that in 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
2 weeks is fine.
All right. Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes.
Do we have Ms. Kennedy's information, Ms. Yates?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Kennedy, you will be given 2 weeks to pay the sum of $250. You will receive through your email by close of business tomorrow your plea form, to which you will enter a not guilty plea, but you have been found guilty by the court, and then you will receive a 2-week agreement to pay the fine of $250. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, do you have any questions, Ms. Kennedy?
No.
All right, if you will disengage from the call, thank you. We have not heard from, all right. Now let's go to Adam Neal. Were we able to get any information, Ms. Yates, on Mr. Neal through in court?
We were unable to locate any documentation, and he stated that, well, we've been chatting, and he stated that he could not find the information.
All right, so Mr.
Why
Neal.
is my screen black?
Mr. Neal?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's go back to this. You have an offense dated September 27th of 2021, a failure to yield. What is your plea to that, sir?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be not guilty, I would imagine.
Okay, that's fine. We'll just go forward with the trial on that one. And then it looks like you have another set of tickets on October the 24th of 2022, which is a failure to have license on person and another failure to yield. What is your plea to those 2 charges, sir?
So I had been informed in the time that I've been here that with a guilty plea, does that come with points on the license?
It does. They do come with points. A NOLO plea, there are no points, but with a guilty plea, you will get points. That is correct.
Okay, so do I have am I eligible for a NOLO?
On which charges?
The failure.
You have 2 charges. You have 2.
The most recent one. Or I guess the oldest one, I guess you would say.
You mean the one in 2022 or the one in 2021?
Do I have to specify which one?
You do, because you have 2 different sets of tickets on 2 different days. So it's my understanding the 2021 charges, you're entering a not guilty plea. Is that correct? So we're going to have a trial, correct?
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes, if I couldn't do NOLO on it.
Well, I don't know if you can do NOLO or not. I just want you to be clear that you have 2 different set of tickets. Are you asking, can I do a NOLO on all 3 charges? Is that what your question is?
No, because I know that I can only do it on 1 charge every 5 years, correct?
That is incorrect. If it's all during 1 transaction, you could conceivably do it on all 3 charges if you're eligible.
Well, then if I am eligible for that, I would like to do that for sure.
All right, Ms. Yates, is he eligible for a NOLO plea?
Only for the non-moving violations.
Okay, so you're not eligible for a NOLO plea, sir. So you'd have to do a guilty or a not guilty.
Not guilty.
All right, then let us go ahead and proceed with the charges. The first one is September 27th, 2021, which is Officer Ellis. Does the city have a recommendation on this one?
Recommendation, you
Yeah.
judge doing the trial.
Or go to trial?
Oh, okay. All right, so on the first citation, which is September 27th, 2021, that is Officer I. Ellis. That officer is no longer with the department, so that would be moved to dismiss for want of prosecution.
All right, Mr. Neal, the city says that this officer is no longer with the city, so the September 27th, 2021 charges are being dismissed for want of prosecution. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, and then the next series of charges are for October 24, 2022. Does the city have a position on those?
Yes, so that was actually Officer Holmes, but this was an accident case involved. The witness was Troy Weatherby. And we've announced for Mr. Weatherby that person is not on the Zoom. That one will also be dismissed for want of prosecution.
All right. So, Mr. Adams, the incidents involving October 24, 2022, the city is also dismissing those for want of prosecution. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
I do believe I have. I can double check for you.
Ms. Yates, do we have his information, his
I have.
email?
Yes, we have it.
All right, sir, you will receive your plea forms to which you will enter a not guilty plea for the 2 different dates. And then you will receive a copy of the disposition where this case has been dismissed for want of prosecution because the witness and the officers were not present. Do you understand that, sir?
I do. Thank you, sir.
All right, sir, you can disengage from the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, next is Robin Pearsall.
And Judge, just one quick announcement before we move on to Ms. Pearsall's case. We do have that officer that's off Trooper Chavez. But on Jason Kessler's case, we have Officer Green and Officer Estrada. Both of their cases have, or no other cases on the calendar that they have to be present for. So if they can be released, and at some point we have to address the defendants, his clients, who I believe were in the courtroom.
All right, then yes, the officers can be released and we will just do a FTA hold for report for Attorney Kessler. Okay.
I'm sorry, you said FTA hold?
Well, we'll do an FTA.
Well, so his clients are here.
Okay, his clients are here, then we'll
Yeah,
just
his
do a
clients were
hold for
present in the
report.
courtroom.
All right. Thank you for telling me that. We'll just do a hold for report for Attorney Kessler then.
All right. And so now we have Ms. Pearsall. Let me go ahead and pull her case up.
Your Honor, as it pertains to the 2 that were waiting for Kessler, I gave them the link and just advised them to log back in at 1 o'clock. Hopefully we'll have heard from Kessler by then.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Green.
All right.
So they have a 1 o'clock reset.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Judge, so we're ready to proceed on Ms. Pearsall.
All right.
This is Officer Estrada.
All right. Everyone that's going to testify, if you will please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do.
All right, Mr. Prosecutor.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Pearsall is before the court because on June 8th of 2022, she received a citation for failure to obey a traffic control device. This was Trooper Chavez issued this citation. Trooper Chavez, on the date in question, do you have an opportunity to come in contact with Ms. Pearsall?
Yes, sir, I did.
And was that contact within the city limits of Forest Park?
Yes, sir.
And are you a post-certified peace officer with arrest powers?
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly state the nature of that contact?
Absolutely. So, Your Honor, my patrol vehicle was traveling northbound on Georgia 54, which is Jonesboro Road. I noticed this young lady's vehicle was traveling southbound in the same area, Jonesboro Road and Old Jonesboro Road. Both our lights turned red. I stopped at the red light and she continued through the red light. I then maneuvered my patrol vehicle back toward her direction and initiated a traffic stop behind her vehicle. Then met with her, had a conversation, and then issued her a citation for running the red light.
Okay. And Trooper Chavez, once you made contact with Ms. Pearsall, And you stated to her why you, did she make any statements to you that you can recall?
Not that I can recall, sir.
Nothing further for this witness, Judge.
All right, Ms. Pearsall, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Trooper Chavez?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
When I was going through the light, and you said you saw a red light, did you see where my car was positioned at?
Yes, ma'am, you had already went through the intersection at the red light.
And were you going the opposite way that I was going?
Correct.
Do you have any other questions?
No, sir, I don't.
All right. Does the city rest its case?
City rest, Judge.
All right. Ms. Pearsall, you now can tell the court what happened. If there are any witnesses or any documents you'd like for the court to review, you can present those at this time.
I don't have any documents, but as I was going through the light was up yellow, and I was almost through the light and I kept going. I did not stop, but the light was yellow. After I've been through the light for about 15, 20 seconds, then he turned on, I heard the lights, and I was already in the far right lane, so I didn't know who he was pulling over. And when I pulled over into the Hibbett, that plaza, when the officer stopped me, he told me that he pulled me over for a light, and that the light was red. And I looked at him, I gave him my license. And when he came back, I told him, I said, that light was yellow, it was not. And he got kind of aggressive and said, no, it wasn't. So I didn't want to argue. And I just proceeded, I just decided that I was going to go with the court case, but the light was yellow. It was not red. And I do believe that because we were going opposite ways, maybe when he saw my car and I was already through the light and it was red, but the light was yellow, sir.
Okay. Does the city have any questions?
I do, Judge. Ms. Pearsall, you said, I believe your statement was that when you approached that particular intersection, that you observed a yellow light and went into the intersection with a yellow light. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. And the position of those lights, if you recall, are the lights directly above you when you enter the center of the intersection?
Yes.
All right. Now, you heard Officer Chavez or Trooper Chavez's testimony in reference to the light being red on his side, and you guys were going in the opposite direction, correct?
Correct.
Is there any way that you are able to testify that you saw the light stay yellow while you passed through the intersection and got out of the intersection?
It was.
And you were able to see the light to make that statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your vehicle at some point was under the light, is that correct?
Correct.
How could you see the light if your vehicle was under it?
Great question. As I was, like I said, as I was approaching, I saw the light was yellow, but I was right there under the intersection. So I went through.
And Ms. Pearsall, and I appreciate your answer. What I'm trying to understand is if you're able to tell the court that you cleared the intersection before the light turned red. And that's my question. Are you stating to the court that before you got out of that intersection, that light had not turned red?
I can't honestly say that.
All right, and I appreciate your honesty. No further questions, Judge.
All right. Okay. Ms. Pearsall, do you rest your case, or is there something else you'd like to say?
I do believe that the light was yellow as I was going under the light. Now, if my car proceeded and after I could no longer see the light, if the light was red, that was one thing. But I do believe since there was such a delay in him coming behind me and we were going opposite directions, that I did not run that light.
Okay. All right. Is there anything, Ms. Pearsall, do you rest your case?
I rest my case.
All right, thank you. The court has heard the testimony from Ms. Pearsall as well as Trooper Chavez. Based on the evidence presented to the court today, the court does find you guilty of the violation. The fine amount is $175. Are you able to pay that within 2 weeks, or do you need a longer period of time?
I can pay that in 2 weeks.
Have you typed your name and email address in the chat?
Yes, I did.
Ms. Yates, do we have Ms. Pearsall's information?
Yes, we do.
All right, Ms. Pearsall, you will receive your plea form by close of business tomorrow. You will enter a not guilty plea. Please note, the court has found you guilty. The fine amount is $175, and you will be given time within 2 weeks to make the payment. Please make sure that you comply. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. You can disengage from the call. It looks like Miss Allen is having some, Miss Allen, you can disengage from the call.
I'm here. I'm
All
here.
right, you can turn the device off. You will receive when you receive your plea form, enter not guilty and send it back. Have you provided them with your email address?
In the chat room, I did.
Okay, do we have her information, Ms. Yates?
Yes, we do.
All right, Ms. Allen, you will receive your plea form, enter a not guilty plea, and then you will receive your dismissal. You will have all of this by close of business tomorrow. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, ma'am, you can click out of the session. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes.
We have one other individual that came in. He was a drop-off situation as well, so he does not have any transportation, but he's on the 1 o'clock docket. His name is Cameron Davis, and he has no insurance violation, but he wants to plead not guilty.
Okay, if you want to pull his paperwork, treat this as his arraignment, let him enter a not guilty plea, find out from him, does he want the case to stay? And far as Mr. Davis, you're entering a not guilty plea to the no insurance charge, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Was there valid insurance on the car that covered you on the day of the incident?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have that with you today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you want to give that to court personnel? Ms. Green, do you want to see if you can verify if there was coverage for him?
I'll have to call, Your Honor.
Okay, then how do you want to handle this?
We could just not put him off not guilty and give him another trial date, and we can verify the insurance before the next day.
Okay, well, get all the information, let him enter a not guilty plea, give him a trial date here. Do you want your case to stay in Forest Park, sir, or do you want it bound over to Clayton County?
Forest Park is fine.
All right, he's waived his right to a jury trial in Clayton County. He will have a trial in Forest Park, and you all will attempt to verify his insurance or place him on a trial date. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I got the information. Have a good one.
That takes care of everyone in the queue and everyone in the courtroom.
I believe so, Judge.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on one second.
Judge, I have